So you're at a point in your trading journey where you have a proven strategy. Maybe you've back tested it, you've got the statistics, and you know there's a statistical edge and it's profitable. Or maybe you have a mentor and they have shared with you their proven strategy. So you know exactly what you have to do. But when you're live in the market, you find it really difficult to focus on that strategy. You find that maybe you're hyper vigilant, you're very watchful, you're very on guard when you're trading, or maybe you find that you get really caught up in your own worries, your own fears, your own thoughts about what price is going to do and what your trade outcome is going to be for the day. I am a cognitive behavioral therapist by background and I trade. And in this video, I'm going to help you to understand how you can actually focus on trading even under pressure. So, focusing is not about staring at the screen harder, but it's about remaining psychologically neutral even when the information in front of you is changing constantly. In order to focus on your trading strategy and not anything else, any other worries, fears, or predictions, you need to understand that how you think affects what you do. So, how you're thinking when you're trading is affecting and influencing every trading decision, whether that's you jumping into a trade, hesitating on a trade, exiting trades prematurely. They are all stemming from the thoughts that are going through your mind. Now, as humans, we have thoughts going through our mind all day, every day. We have thousands of thoughts. It's that constant chatter that's going through our mind. Our thoughts are very intrusive, they're very automatic, they just pop into our mind. But how we think affects the way we feel, which influences what we do or don't do. And I'm going to give you a non-trading related example, just something that's relatable, just to demonstrate this concept further. So I want you to imagine that you're walking down the road and you see your friend on the other side of the road and you say hello to them, but you get no acknowledgement back. What thoughts might go through your mind in that moment? Maybe you might think, have I done something wrong? Do they not like me anymore? Now, if those thoughts went through your mind, how would you feel? You might feel worried, anxious, sad, maybe low in mood. And then how would those feelings, how would those thoughts and feelings affect your behavior, what you did or didn't do? You might find that you might ruminate on that particular situation and that event, and you might find yourself chewing over past events, replaying your previous interactions with that person to try to work out what you could have done wrong. You might find that your focus is away from anything else that you have planned for that day, and your focus is just on trying to figure out why they seemingly ignored you. Okay, so you can see how you have a trigger. So this event happened, your friend not showing you any acknowledgement back. It leads to a particular thought, which makes you feel anxious and then influences your behavior. Now, let's say you have the exact same trigger, exact same situation. Imagine you're walking down the road, you see your friend on the other side of the road, you say hello, but you don't get any acknowledgement back from them. Let's say the thought that goes through your mind is, oh, maybe they didn't see me, or even maybe they're having a bad day. Do you think you would feel as anxious as that initial thought in the first scenario? Probably not, okay? And then what you might do, if you think, okay, maybe they didn't see me, you're not going to feel as anxious. because you're not taking it personal, and you might be able to just get on with your day. You're able to be present, you're focusing on your activities that were planned for the day. And if anything, you might just drop them a text or something and say, oh, I saw you earlier. But the level of distress is not as intense as the first interpretation. Okay, and that is the key point here. In those two scenarios, you have the exact same situation, but you have two different interpretations which lead to completely different outcomes. Okay, so it's not always the situation or the trigger that's the problem, but it's how you interpret it that is. And that interpretation then leads on to different feelings and behaviors. Okay, so now let's transfer this concept over to trading. So it's this whole idea that how you are thinking is affecting your focus when you're trading. How you think influences your trading decisions. So let's say, for example, just even coming to the market, let's say that it's your trading session, it's time to trade, and you're getting ready, you're about to start, and already the thought in your mind is, I need to make money today, or even I'm going to make money today. Now, let's say if someone had that thought going through their mind and they believed it very strongly, I need to make money or I'm going to make money, how do you think they would feel? In terms of I need to make money, there could be a level of urgency there. There could be feelings of anxiety, I need to make money. And if they thought I'm going to make money, there might be a level of overconfidence there as well. Now let's think, how would those thoughts and feelings influence their behavior? If they thought I need to make money, how might that influence their trading decisions? Maybe when they see price come into a key area, they might jump into a trade before confirmation because they don't want to miss out on making money. And actually, the consequence of that is that maybe it's a lower probability setup and it turns out to be a loss. Okay, so you get this unintended consequence. We don't want to take unnecessary losses that are not probability based. Okay, so again, this thought of I need to make money leads to you forcing trades. Okay, now let's imagine that we have that same scenario. Somebody is coming to their desk, they're about to trade, they're going to start their trading session, but the thought that goes through their mind is, I'm going to follow my process. I'm going to follow my trading plan. Okay. And that might mean that I lose money today. It might mean that I make money today. How would that make them feel? How would they be feeling? Do you think they'll be feeling as anxious and as much of a level of urgency as the first trader who thought, I need to make money today? No, they're going to be far more neutral. Okay, they're not clinging onto any particular expectation. Okay, they're setting the tone for their trading day in line with their edge. They know that their edge includes wins and it includes losses, and they're going to the desk, they're going to the market through those lenses. That idea that today could be a SL exit day, it could be a TP exit day, I might not even take a trade. And all of those are good outcomes, especially if I'm following my plan. Okay, so if they're going to the desk with that mindset of being very neutral and this idea of my job here is to follow my plan, they're going to be feeling calm. They're not going to be overly relaxed, and we don't want that. You need to have a level of I guess anxiety and alertness. You don't want to be overly anxious, but you don't want to be overly relaxed either. It's like if, say, for example, you were going to have an operation on your heart, you don't want the surgeon to be overly anxious, but you also don't want the surgeon to be overly relaxed, right? You need a level of anxiety so that you can perform well, okay? So the person that is more neutral, saying, okay, I'm going to follow my plan, what trading decisions do you think that would lead to? What behaviors would that lead to? Do you think there'll be forcing entries? Do you think when price gets to their key area, they're going to not wait for confirmation? No, their focus is going to be on their rules. They might even be able to visualize their rules in their head. Wherever they have it written down, they might have that image of that document in their mind. Their focus is there. Yes, they're getting new bits of information all the time. New data is coming into their vision in that moment. They're seeing price go up and down. They're seeing lots of things happening, but all the while, their focus is on the plan because of their initial interpretation of going to the market. If your interpretation of going to the market is, I need to make money, it's going to lead to unhelpful consequences. Whilst if your interpretation of going to the market is, I need to follow my plan, you're going to be way more focused on your strategy. Okay? This now leads to consistent behaviors because all you care about is following your plan. And when you have more helpful interpretations, it leads to more helpful behaviors. And then you start to see the consequence. And when I say consequence, I mean positive or negative of having consistent behaviors. So you'll start to see that your edge is playing out. When you do it long enough, you see that, oh, profitability is emerging. Okay. And that reinforces your beliefs around, or it reinforces the importance of having a particular interpretation when you come to the market. Okay, so how you think affects the way you feel, which affects what you do. So it's so important to become aware of this relationship between thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Self-awareness is your first edge as a trader, okay? Self-awareness. And this is what I really love about trading and just the whole journey of getting to profitability. It's almost like self-mastery. Once you have your proven edge, now it's about mastering yourself so that you can allow the edge to play out. The only thing now blocking you or getting in your way between you and consistency and payouts and profitability is yourself. Okay, so I really love trading as much as it's actually boring, like it's outwardly boring, like you're just staring at a screen, pressing buttons, entering and exiting trades. Is actually a process of self-mastery. Every time you go to the chart, you're trying to align yourself more and more with the trader that you need to be and with the trader that you need to become. So self-awareness is your first edge. Now, generally speaking, we're not overly aware of the thoughts that are going through our mind when we're trading. You're more likely aware of maybe how you're feeling. You might notice that you're feeling stressed or you're feeling anxious, you're feeling worried, and you're more aware of sort of what you're doing. You know that you're exiting trades early, you know that you're forcing trades, you know that you're skipping trades, and you know that you're not profitable. But again, we're not overly aware of the cause of that. Okay, the idea that it's how you are interpreting situations and events that are happening when you're live in the market that is actually causing all of these behaviors and these outcomes. So the first step is to start to self monitor. Okay. In self monitoring, what you are doing is you are starting to identify what your triggers are. What are the situations that happen in the market that lead to you forcing a trade, that lead to you um, not obeying your stop loss, that leads to you exiting a trade early? Okay, you need to understand the trigger, just like that friend scenario that I gave at the very beginning of the video. What is the trigger? Once you become aware of your triggers, you are becoming more aware of self. Okay, so it's almost like you'll be able to develop alternative coping mechanisms for these situations. You know that these moments are sort of vulnerable points for you, and that you can be prepared to do something differently in these moments, to actually respond in a different way. So, to identify your triggers, what you want to do is anytime you notice an emotionally charged moment when you're trading, whether that's suddenly a heightened level of anxiety, or even if it's like a hesitation, maybe you didn't actually take a trade, as close to that time as possible, I want you to document, you can write it down or document it somewhere. What was the trigger? What happened in the market which led to that feeling? Okay, so an example could be, I keep going back to this example, but maybe price nearing one of your key areas. So you'd write that was my trigger. You write that down. You'd write down how you felt in that moment. So you might say anxious, and then you want to write down your behavior. So what did you do? And then you'd say, I jumped in before confirmation. And then what you want to do is identify what was the thought that was going through your mind. Because as we know, how you think affects the way you feel and what you do. So ask yourself, what could have been going through my mind in that moment? And then it might be, for example, you might think, I don't want to miss this trade, or yeah, essentially this fear of missing out. Okay, I need to make money. What if this moves without me and I'm not in the trade? So you can record this on anything that's going to be easy for you. Okay, so whether it's in your phone, piece of paper, a diary you might already have. I do also have a journal in my Embodied Trader course linked below. It's my course on trading psychology, which you might find helpful. But you just want to use whatever's going to make it more likely for you to get it down, whatever's going to be accessible for you. So now you've got down what your trigger is. You've got down how that made you feel and what you did. And you've also identified how you interpreted that situation. Then you want to look at that thought and think to yourself, is there another way of looking at this? Okay, because remember, it's just an interpretation. Thoughts are not facts. There could be other ways of looking at it. Okay, just like when we are walking down the road, we see our friend and we don't get any acknowledgement from them, and then we think the worst. But it could actually be something, less sinister. Maybe they just didn't see you. So how you interpret an event affects the way you feel. So if you're thinking, oh, what if I miss out on this move? You want to ask yourself, is there another way of viewing that? When price goes to your key area, what could be an alternative way of viewing that? It might be, okay, price is nearing my area, but I'm going to wait for confirmation instead of, what if price moves without me? Okay. And there could be a multiple number of ways that you could interpret this event, which will be more helpful for you and lead to behaviors conducive of profitability. So you might even think, okay, price is near my area, but I'm going to wait for confirmation. If I don't get it and it moves without me, that's okay because it wasn't my strategy. So you can see how it just includes more words, okay? You're elaborating on that event. Often our thoughts that pop into our mind are so rigid and so skewed to the negative. What if I miss out on this? What if I lose out on money? When actually it's not so black and white. You might miss out on that move, but that's okay. It's not part of your strategy. It's not your setup. Okay? And when you think like that and you truly believe that it is okay, that's when you're then able to stick to your plan. So, the more that you practice identifying what is going through your mind in sort of emotionally charged moments when you're trading, the more you practice that, the more aware you will be of it. And you'll be in a better position to challenge those thoughts, to find alternative ways of thinking that is going to be more helpful for you and your P&L ultimately. And also, you can find alternative ways of viewing a situation, or you can choose to just let that thought pass. Okay, in that moment, you might just say to yourself, okay, there goes that worry that I'm going to miss out on a move again. Acknowledge it. Don't suppress it. Don't try to fight it, because the more you try to suppress thoughts and feelings, the more it persists. Okay, if you imagine, for example, like a beach ball, and if you imagine getting that inflatable beach ball and being in a pool and trying to push it down to the ground of the pool, all that's going to happen when you let go, it's just going to pop straight back up. And that's how it is when we're trying to not think about something. Okay, the more you try to resist it or suppress it, the more it appears. Okay, so it's not about trying to ignore what's going through your mind, it's about acknowledging that there's a worry there. Okay, that there's a fear of missing out, that you're worried about taking a losing trade, acknowledging it, but choosing to let that thought come and go again. I'm sure you've noticed that yourself in maybe situations outside of trading where thoughts come, but they can go again when you choose to put your attention onto something else, onto another activity, instead of mulling over that worry. Then it just goes suddenly. Just like feelings, you might feel anxious, but then when your attention is off of that concern and onto something else, like another activity, that feeling has gone, it just passes. So, whenever you notice yourself getting distracted by unhelpful, intrusive thoughts that are just popping into your mind when you're trading, you can acknowledge that those thoughts and feelings have come in and gently put your attention back onto your process, back onto your trading strategy and your rules. And you do that every time your attention drifts. To help you to increase your focus when you are trading, the next time it's your trading session, I just want you to become more aware of the thoughts that are going through your mind. Okay, you don't have to even change them at this point if it feels like too big of a step. The first step is always noticing them, okay? Because at the moment, we're probably not even aware of them. As I said, we're more aware of what we're doing and what we're not doing, and that we're not following our trading plan. So the next step is to become aware of your thinking patterns. So when you're trading, just be mindful of the thoughts that are going through your mind. Notice them, acknowledge them, and don't do anything with them. Just notice that they're there, and then gently bring your attention back onto price action, back onto the candlesticks, being objective, paying attention to what you can actually see as opposed to how you are interpreting them. The only thing you want to put your focus on is your trading plan. We don't care if it's a losing trade. We don't even care if it's a winning trade. Expect to have winning trades. It's not shocking when you have a winning trade. We don't get overly excited when we have a winning trade because we are profitable traders. Even if it's not apparent yet in your P&L, that's what you are and that's what you're working towards. So when you have a winning trade, expect it. Don't be shocked, don't be overly excited. It's just confirmation that you're heading in the right direction. So we're focusing our attention more on the process as opposed to the outcome. And we're not getting caught up in thoughts and worries of losing trades, having a winning trade, making money. All we care about is consistency and the plan. So, at your next trading session, just become aware of the thoughts that are popping in and out of your mind. Let them come and let them go again. If you found this video helpful, give it a like. And if you'd like some more performance coaching from myself, I do offer one-on-one performance coaching for traders. And I do also offer this in the form of a digital course. So you have that structured support there and it's self-paced. So you can choose to binge it all in one go or take your time and work through each module and allow yourself time to practice the techniques in there. It's full of evidence-based tools based on the cognitive behavioral framework. So that is linked below.